Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video I'm going to share with you guys things I wish I knew before I moved to Australia. So I'm currently out and about, I'm filming tourist recommendation type videos. If that's your jam, definitely subscribe to this channel because you guys are going to find useful tips and tricks when you guys are visiting Melbourne or anywhere really where I'm going. So the first thing I wish I knew before I moved to Melbourne, I wish I knew how to drive. I knew that you needed a car, a driver's license when you moved over here, but I never really thought that it was going to really affect a lot of my day-to-day life. I mean, I'm really lucky that I have moved to Melbourne because Melbourne has got really good public transport compared to the other cities here in Australia, but it is still by far not comparable to, let's say, Asian countries. I am from Hong Kong, I was born and raised in Hong Kong, so I'm used to that sort of like every 5-10 minutes there's always like the next train, the next bus sort of thing. So yeah, I wish I learned how to drive before I moved over here. And that kind of leads into the next point. I wish I knew how lacking the public transport here is in Australia. Now, I'm really lucky that I live in Melbourne. Melbourne is actually pretty good because if you guys live near the CBD, or if you guys are going to be visiting the CBD area or like suburbs just outside the CBD area, you guys will find it quite easy to get around. There are trams, there are buses that they'll get you around to most of the city, and also you can always catch a taxi and Uber as well. I do however recommend taking Ubers or Olas, that sort of stuff, just because it's so much easier, and I don't know, from my experience a lot of taxis here in Melbourne have ripped me off in some way or another. That's just my experience. Another thing that I wish I knew before I moved to Australia is how expensive data is here, specifically for your mobile phone. So coming from Hong Kong, I'm just kind of like used to having a limited internet access, and I really had to train myself to kind of restrict myself in terms of how much data I use when I'm out and about, just because of how expensive a lot of the plans are here. A lot of the times if you go for a prepaid plan it's a lot cheaper, but even then, you know, you get like 20 or 30 gigs, and if you're used to just using your phone for everything, it's going to be a bit of a challenge. Last but certainly not least is Aussie slang. Before I moved over here, I probably should have done my research. It took me a while to get used to a lot of Aussie slang. Now, as you guys can probably hear, I am not Australian. I am an Australian citizen now, but I am not an Aussie. So a lot of the Aussie slang I had to kind of like learn on the go. I had a lot of good friends that taught me a little bit of Aussie slang, but even then it's like, but every now and then I get caught off guard with new Aussie slang I've never heard before. And also country Australian accents are very strong, and depending on which state you are, they have variants as well. So, you know, you really have to try and train your ears to listen. But you know what? But to be completely honest, if you guys are going to a lot of the major cities or a lot of the touristy areas, a lot of people are more than happy to repeat themselves and clarify what they're saying. I do feel like some Aussies feel that a lot of the slang that they use, they think is actually English, like English, but it's actually just Australian English. So if you just ask them again, they will clarify, and then they will most likely use descriptive words, or they will use words that are most commonly used amongst all English-speaking countries. So yeah, there you guys go. Those are some of the things I wish I knew before I moved to Australia. If you guys enjoy this content, definitely hit the subscribe button down below, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye!